Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to the fifth episode of the Bird Brothers, two brothers in Ohio who are lifelong Eagles fans. Today we're going to talk about the NFC East positional rankings. So the Cowboys, the Commanders, the Eagles, and the Giants, we're going to rank them quarterback, wide receiver, just the offensive side of the ball today, and give you what we think is our order. Who's got the best group of quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, etc. I know that we both did these rankings separately, so that we might have, had some different thoughts. You've got to consider injuries and rookies who are unproven, and there's all kinds of things to consider, but we will get into it. So, Ryan, let's start at the top of the list, that probably the most important position on the field. Let's start with yours. How do you rank the quarterbacks?
Yeah, so this one honestly wasn't super hard. To come off on top, I think it's simple. The Cowboys with Dak, I think, is the best quarterback in the division. Carson played at a high level for a season or so, 2 seasons. Jalen is unproven. Daniel Jones has had flashes, but horrible coaching and horrible offensive line. And we'll talk about that later, but. So I went, just to go through it quick, I went Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders, Giants, simply just because we haven't seen Carson be Carson. And I did struggle with that, honestly, even being an Eagles fan. Like I went back and forth on the Eagles and Commanders at 2 and 3. And I started looking at the backups. I like Gardner Minshew, but I also like Heineke in Washington. So I think they're both kind of like, Minshew and him are just kind of like gunslingers, a little wild side, but probably not long-term starting material. And then Daniel Jones has just been, like I said, real streaky. I didn't love the draft pick, how he shot up boards when he did. But yeah, to keep it, short and sweet, I had Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders, Giants. And like I said, I could flip-flop on 2 and 3 with the Eagles and Commanders.
Yeah, that's good context. I actually ranked it almost the same, but I could flip flop on Eagles and Eagles and Commanders as well. And I actually put the Commanders second. So Cowboys, Commanders, Eagles, Giants. I think Daniel Jones is dead last. I think Dak Prescott is the most proven, the most accomplished right now.
Yeah.
And so what I did, I went back and looked at Wentz's 2000, his last season with us was horrendous.
Yeah.
But there's stats are just stats, right? So watching the games is totally, like last year, his stats weren't bad, but everybody saw, it's like a recency bias. Everybody saw his debacle at the end of the year. They lost to the Jaguars. They lost to the Texans. Horrible teams and missed the playoffs. But listen to this. I mean, these are Carson Wentz's statistics. So everybody knows 2017 MVP season. He threw for 33. I'm rounding up. He threw for 3,300 yards, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. QB rating of 101.9.
Yeah.
That's the second highest QB rating of his career. The following year, he had a pretty good year. He had a higher quarterback rating. He threw for 3,100 yards, 21 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 102 rating. 2019, he threw for 4,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, quarterback 93.1 rating. 2020, horrible. Rating was 72.8, 16 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. He threw for 2,600 yards.
Yeah.
Bottom of the barrel. Last year, he threw for 3,600 yards, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 94.6 quarterback rating. So like I gave you a lot there, but the 2 years I was looking at was like the 3 years, 2017, 19, and 21. So 2017 was his big year, 33 touchdowns, 7 picks. Last year he threw 27 with 7 picks. So we're talking 6 touchdown passes. 6 touchdown passes was the difference.
Right.
And terrible ending.
Yeah.
And they let him go really quick. So like questionable, like leadership, questionable. Something about him is very questionable because
Right.
he didn't put up bad numbers, and he's still relatively young, and he stayed healthy.
I think like I didn't watch a ton of the games. I don't obviously follow them as much as I do the Eagles, but with you, if you sit down and watch his games with the Colts, it's an accuracy thing. Like they threw the ball a good amount. They had Jonathan Taylor, who's arguably, you know, maybe the best back in the league, top 3 for sure. And well, yeah, I would say top 3, just based off watching last season. But very kind of the same stuff we saw like our last year with him was like just very simple throws to the flat. He would overthrow the guy, you know, throw it over his head by 5-6 yards. Everything was at the back hip. Like, I think their guys just made a few more plays, and then they also could lean on Jonathan Taylor and the offensive line, and the defense played well for the most part. So I think it was just an accuracy thing, but I do think there's something locker room type personality issue. Obviously we can't say for sure, but it just seems that way. Because those aren't bad enough numbers. Completion percentage is low, you know, lower or not. Those aren't numbers where you're like, yeah, we got to get him out of here. He can't play. You know, so I think obviously we saw some bad games. Well, you see bad games from everybody occasionally. So yeah, I think, you know, you hit it right on those with that. There's something going on in mental state or something that is letting, you know, teams know that, you know, we can't keep this guy on the team. Bad for locker room, bad for, you know, team vibe. But yeah, like I said, I'm the same with you. I could flip him. I think Carson has tremendous upside. It's just inconsistency, and is he going to find it in Washington? They certainly have weapons, but
yeah,
see if you can find it.
Yeah, I think if Jalen Hurts throws 27 touchdowns and 7 interceptions this year, we'll be pretty happy. Now, last year he threw 16 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. Obviously brings another element with running, and nobody questions his personality, his leadership, his all that. So for right now, you know, I could have flipped him, but for right now, I think Carson's done more in the league from a passing standpoint.
For sure.
And he's got weapons, and I like their coach. So I put, again, my quarterback was Cowboys, Commanders, Eagles, Giants. Going into running back, how did you have the running backs ranked, Ryan?
Yeah, it's actually, I had it same exact as quarterback. I went Cowboys. I think Zeke's kind of fallen off, taking a step back, but Pollard, it looks pretty promising. Then if you factor in offensive line, all those things, I think the Cowboys are going to be my 1, and I have Eagles, Commanders, Giants. And again, I just kind of looked at injuries and offensive line, and really the big selling point for me to put the Eagles at 2 was the offensive line. I think their running backs are going to, if I'm strictly ranking them as a talent base, there aren't injuries, you know, offensive line doesn't matter. You know, Saquon is going to be probably at the top of my list. I mean, prime Zeke was great too, but prime Saquon was, you know, we expected so many things, just went to a bad organization with no line. But in reality, I'm going Eagles, Commanders, and Giants after the Cowboys. And I could have kind of, I like Antonio Gibson, but I think we're going to be better just based off of our offensive line. I think Gainwell will take a lot of the reps. Hopefully Miles Sanders stops dancing side to side so much. But yeah, just strictly offensive line carried that one. But I think the Cowboys are similar offensive line. I don't think they're as good, but I like Pollard. I think he's pretty solid.
Yeah, so we had them very different on this, and so my thought process was kind of what you mentioned. When I looked at the depth chart, I just assumed, all right, let's assume everybody's healthy. We're not going to try to predict injuries or anything. And even though we kind of can, like, will Barkley be on the field for 16 games? If I were to bet money, I would say no.
Right.
But in my rankings, that was kind of the thought process. Like, let's take injury out of it, just on talent, just on the depth chart. So we were very different from that regard. So running back, I had Giants first because I think Saquon's the best.
Yeah.
I didn't factor in offensive line. I just was going off the running back, so I didn't even think about the offensive line. That does change everything. And if I did, I'd probably, I mean, we were the number one rushing attack in the league last year, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's because of our running backs, but we were. So I have a Giants, Cowboys, Commanders, Eagles. Giants, Cowboys, Commanders, Eagles.
Well, it's good that we kind of went opposite. So doing this separate and not knowing what we're doing, because we can kind of get, two perspectives of it. Obviously they're just opinions. None of this is actual facts or anything like that.
I know the rankings.
No, these are official, guys.
This is gospel. You can take this to the bank.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, if I'm picking just off talent, I'm not talking about injuries. Saquon's at the top, followed by Zeke. I like Antonio Gibson, but I think I'd have Sanders at 3 if I went that route that you did. Just based off of what we saw in college, what we know, we've seen flashes of Sanders where, I mean, he just makes people look stupid, but sometimes he does too much. He has the patience, he makes a guy miss, but then he never goes. It's just kind of a juke. But we've seen flashes where he looks phenomenal. But yeah, it's good that we kind of went opposite sides here, so we can kind of get a look into both sides. Yeah, I don't disagree. If I went the way you did with no injuries, offensive line isn't factored in, I probably would have went very similar, if not the same. So yeah.
I was looking at like I mean, if the Eagles right now take away salary cap, all the money factors, if we had Ezekiel Elliott instead of Miles Sanders, are we a better football team?
Yeah. I mean, as long as we run the ball.
Yeah.
So Zeke's just that guy. You just continue to just pound the ball up the middle with him and wear the defense down. And, fourth quarter comes and he's still chewing off 3-4 yards a carry.
Yeah. And he's probably not who he used to be, obviously. But then I had the Eagles last because I like the Eagles running backs. It's not like I hate them or I have a knock on them. I like them. But they're more of a committee.
Yeah.
Gibson had like the 4th most carries in the league last year. I knew he was talented, but I didn't know much about him, so I looked him up a little bit. He went over 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah, quietly.
Quietly. And Miles Sanders has never done that.
Right.
He's never been over 1,000 yards. In all of his career, he's got like 2,500 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Last 2 years, he only played 12 games. So we have more of a committee. I like Gainwell. I like the committee. I like Boston Scott a lot. And like we've talked about, behind that offensive line, we might like anybody,
Yeah.
A lot of people can probably get it done. So, all right, we'll go into the wide receivers here. How did you rank your wide receiver groups amongst the NFCs?
This is probably the toughest one for me.
Some good players.
Yeah, super, super talented locker rooms. Again, it's gonna, like, on my side, I factored in quarterback play. So it kind of is gonna vary. I made a rule when I started. I wasn't gonna do any ties because I initially, when I got to wide receivers, I was like, man, I don't know. Like, I'm just gonna put a tie. That's easy. But so if you factor in quarterbacks, I honestly, and even with Jalen being uncertain, I have the Eagles at 1. And that might be surprising. It's probably going to ruffle feathers. Hopefully not too many, because this is an Eagles, not podcast, but YouTube channel. So I have Eagles, and then I really don't like what the Cowboys. I don't know that Lamb and Gallup are going to be able to carry the load. I know, like, they have James Washington right now, I think, is their number 3, who surprisingly hasn't put up a lot of numbers. I thought he'd put up a lot more numbers than that. When I actually went and looked, not super impressive. For some reason in my head, I was thinking I was like, oh, that's a pretty solid number 3. But then when you actually look into it, it wasn't.
Mhm.
And I don't love R3, whether it's Quez or Pascal or, whoever it is. But I really love the Devontae Smith, not Antonio Brown, AJ Brown. God help us if it's Antonio Brown. But
You're number 3.
maybe we'll start with 4. No guarantee. But yeah, so I went Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants, and I struggled with this. I could probably be convinced to flip a few of these around. I probably I would stick with the Eagles at 1, just based off of I know what Devontae Smith's going to give me. I know AJ Brown's a number 1. I think CeeDee Lamb's a number 1. But it's yet to be, we'll see. Can he do it for a full season without Amari Cooper? So we'll see. I know AJ Brown is. I think Devontae Smith is, based off last year. Not having anything else around him other than Goddard to throw the ball to. The Commanders, I think, could be really surprising. Like I said, if Carson Wentz can put it together and just have a season like he did last year, increase the accuracy a little bit, I think they could have a very, very good team. I think they're just deep. I think the Commanders are the deepest team as far as talent at receiver. Yeah. So, but I don't hate the Giants. I think the Giants have a talented wide receiver group as well. Mm-hmm. I just think they're kind of it's sort of I don't want to say rebuild, but I mean, they need to rebuild, but they have talent. So yeah, I had Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants, and it was a tough one to rank. And I strictly just went because I don't know what Gallup's going to give you as a number 2 for the whole season. And I don't know what CeeDee Lamb's going to do for a whole season at number 1. But I could probably be pretty easily persuaded on the 2 and 3 spots to move around a little bit, just based off quarterback play and stuff like that.
Sure. I had the wide receivers: Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, Giants. My thought process, there's some overlap. The Eagles, I just think the top 1 and 1A, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith is light years better than Gallup, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
We have 2 number 1s basically. CeeDee Lamb, I do like. I think he's good. I think that their offense is going to change. Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is a good receiver. He is a great route runner, and you took him out of the offense. So that changes what CeeDee Lamb's, work looks like every single Sunday. So I think CeeDee Lamb's good. I think he will be good, but I think his workload's going to look a lot different.
Yeah.
I thought James Washington was kind of a good pickup as well. I would say maybe he's further ahead than Quez right now because he's just probably played more. But Quez has got a lot more speed. He's got a lot of talent. The Commanders, man, they are good. And the thing that had me kind of rank them 3rd was I am a fan of Jahan Dotson. When I went back and looked at film, I liked Garrett Wilson a lot this year. If you look at him compared to Jahan Dotson, they're very similar in size. They move very similarly on the field.
Yeah.
I was like, man, they even wore the same number. I was like, oh, it kind of looks like Garrett Wilson in a Penn State uniform. I like Garrett Wilson better, but Jahan Dotson, if he can play at a high level or make a good impact, then I know Curtis Samuel from Ohio State days can fly.
Yeah.
Terry McLaurin can fly. Jahan Dotson ran like a 4.41. People expected him to be a 4.3 guy. So they've got a lot of speed. The Giants, I thought were.
Well.
What'd you say?
De'Ami Brown is their number 4.
Oh, yeah, the North
Commander
Carolina guy.
Yeah. So he's just I think depth wise, I think that's kind of for me why I had them high. and the speed. I think, like I said, if Carson put it together, it'll be pretty easy, I think, to spread the ball around. Guys are going to get open, but yeah, go ahead and continue. I know you haven't talked much about the Giants yet.
Yeah, so Kenny Golladay was like kind of a disappointment, it seemed like, and I do like Sterling Shepard. Kadarius Toney was a disappointment. So Golladay last year was his first year with the Giants, right?
Yeah,
So,
I don't think they had at all last year.
what?
I don't think they were healthy really last year at all.
Yeah, he had 76 targets, 37 catches.
Yeah,
Quarterback has a lot to do with that. I like Golladay, but I'm thinking, well, it's Daniel Jones. So it kind of just boggles me. Kadarius Toney's like a gadget player. They do take Wan'Dale Robinson. He's kind of another gadget guy, but it kind of reminds me of the guy in Arizona, the young
Rondell.
Yeah, Rondell Moore. They're kind of similar players. I liked Wan'Dale Robinson in college, but that's how that's how I had them ranked. Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, Giants. If Jalen doesn't take the leap, they could easily become the third in this list. It could be Cowboys really could be the best just because Dak, the way that Dak, we expect him to run the offense.
Yeah.
So how did you rank the tight end position?
Yeah, I went Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, Giants. So we got obviously Goddard, Schultz, Logan Thomas, and Ricky Seals-Jones is with the Giants now, which I actually like Ricky Seals-Jones, but if he couldn't, I think Arizona was who he was with beforehand. If he couldn't get it done there, I don't think it's going to happen in New York. Logan Thomas is, I think, uber talented, just can't stay healthy. But I think Goddard is definitely better than Schultz. Schultz actually put up very similar yardage, but Schultz put up more touchdowns last year. And I think that goes back to quarterback. And I'm kind of banking on like you said, Hurts to take a little bit of a leap. I'm not expecting like an MVP caliber season, but I do think he'll take a bump. He'll move up some, and I think Goddard will be involved a little more. I hope. So yeah, I had Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, and Giants.
Okay, so I had Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants, and I think it's just because I hate the Cowboys. It's biased. Like I looked at Dalton Schultz numbers and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
He had 78 or 70 some catches and 800 some yards. I think Goddard is a better player. I think he's more talented. I think what Goddard did last year, he did with basically a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
We've seen Goddard just flash, like catch the ball over the middle, run a guy over, run for a touchdown against the Cowboys, and they called it back for offensive pass interference.
Right.
But I guess Schultz would probably be the number 2. The Cowboys tight end group should probably be number 2. But I do like Logan Thomas, the talent, and he had 72 yards. So like they were reasonable, and I was like, well, I'll put the Commanders in front of them because I don't like the Cowboys.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I think Goddard is how's that for thought process?
Yeah. I just don't like Cowboys, so they're not good.
Yeah. But I am excited about Goddard. I think Goddard's a beast.
Yeah.
I'm also an Eagles fan. So if I were a Cowboys fan, I'd probably have Schultz first.
Yeah.
I'd justify it with his stats.
Right. Yeah. From last year. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So far, I've got the Eagles. If we go through quarterback, running back, I've got the Eagles number 3, number 4, number 1, number 1. The Eagles are number 1 at wide receiver. We're not used to saying that.
It's depend all on that, like you said, quarterback play. If you can put it together.
I'm just saying, you know, how we've been looking for receivers for so many years. Like, we need another receiver. We need another receiver. Now finally we think we're number one. We're really talented. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
How did you rank the offensive line?
Offensive line, I had Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, Giants. I think the Eagles are going to be dominant. I don't even think we begin to see what Malata and Dickerson can do. I think they were just scratching the surface with them. The Dickerson pick, when we picked him, I was like, man, why did this? I started looking at his accolades, and everyone's talking about him. Like, why did this guy fall to us? Like, why? And then I start seeing all the injury things. But I like him. Just like seeing him on the field, his mentality reminds me of like a Kelsey, just like grimy, grinded out type guy.
It reminds me of like a John Runyon.
Just mean, just a mean dude that just super nice guy off the field, but on the field you would never want to, go against him. But yeah, I think the Eagles offensive line is going to be pretty dominant. Cowboys, I think, are still going to be very good. They're going to have their rookie Tyler Smith in there, and then I can't remember the guy's name. They're going to have someone who's, I think, a little bit questionable, or at least unproven, we'll say, at right tackle.
Mm-hmm.
But they still have, the bread and butter there. That's going to be doing their job. So I think they'll be an easy second. Giants took a good step forward with Evan Neal, but I think Andrew Thomas is, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to jump the gun. He's only a couple years in, but he's been very shaky at left tackle. And then they didn't really do a whole lot. They moved a few guys around. I think they added a few role players, but it's like, literally, guys, if you're not a Giants fan or, a fan of a team where the guy came from, you probably don't know who he is. So I think they just kind of moved some role players around. Commanders, I think they have Norwell in this at guard. I think he's, a solid veteran. So I think the Giants are still going to be the worst there. Like I said, even getting Evan Neal, I don't think they did enough. But yeah, I think it's easy for me to put the Eagles at number one there.
Yeah, so I had ranked the offensive line: Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, Commanders. Eagles, they're just bad to the bone on the offensive line, man. So excited to see them. I like offensive line play. So like the next Eagles jersey I'm gonna buy is Jason Kelsey. I'm gonna have that. I have to have a Kelsey jersey. But like I want my Lotta jersey. I don't really want a Dickerson jersey really yet, but I would wear it. I mean, he's just awesome. I love his mentality. I love listening to his interviews.
Yeah.
So he's a leader. He's a no BS guy. He holds himself to high standards. And you can just hear that in the way he talks, the way he interacts with the media.
Yeah.
No BS. And so I'm a big fan of him. So yeah, Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, Commanders. Cowboys, I think their left guard's going to be good. Tyler Smith. He declared from Tulsa as a redshirt sophomore.
Right.
So like if you come out of Tulsa as a sophomore, you went in the first round, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Maybe second.
First or second round. Okay. He was talked about to go in the first round. I know that. I just heard he was really talented.
Yeah.
Of course, this is the league, so he's probably going to have to get stronger. But I expect him to do well, and they've drafted offensive linemen well. They've done a good job of getting offensive line. I don't know who the Terrence Steele guy is, the right tackle. Thing about offensive line play too, man, there's a lot of guys I don't know. Like there's probably, if we were to list up the top 10 in the league at every position on the offensive line, I guarantee you there's like a couple guards and some centers, if we're listing top 10, that I don't know.
Right.
Maybe top 5. There's probably some people I don't know that, this guard for the Chargers is really good.
Right.
I don't know all that stuff with the offensive line, but I know the Eagles' offensive line is awesome. I expect the Cowboys to play well on the offensive line. They also had their backup right tackle is a guy that you liked. in this draft, I believe, is Matt Walesko.
Yeah, North Dakota.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he's their backup right tackle. He might be able to
Yeah.
step in there, chip
He's a
in.
project guy. Yeah, I thought he would be worth a late round pick. Tape I watched, and honestly, I just kind of stumbled upon him watching other guys. But yeah, tape I saw on him, he looked like a beast. I think he's big. He's maybe not as big as Mailata, but he's a big frame guy. Pretty slender. Seems to be pretty slender for his height and everything. But yeah, I like him a lot.
Then the last thing, I ranked the Giants over the Commanders. Just I don't know much about the Commanders' offensive line, to be honest. I know the Giants' offensive line was horrible last year, but what I'm thinking is that they added Evan Neal. Andrew Thomas was a top 5 pick, so they got 2 top 5 picks.
Yeah.
2 top 5 caliber picks. At their tackle positions. And I remember Andy Reid's old philosophy, like, give me 2 tackles, 2 corners, 2 defensive ends, and quarterback,
Right.
basically, I believe what it was. So I'm kind of projecting for the Giants. I'm projecting for their talent to kind of go over in their offensive line play to improve. The Commanders, I didn't know a whole lot about their guys. But I wouldn't be surprised if they performed better than the Giants.
Yeah.
So Giants have a new coach as well. There's a lot of variables. To unfold.
Absolutely. So one thing I did, and I'll probably put you on the spot here, just do a quick an overall, factoring everything, quarterback play, everything. Overall, statistically, how would you rank the offensive, side of the ball? So I'll give you mine first. If you want to just copy and paste mine, because it's dead set. But no. So this is another one. I went back and forth. Actually, I didn't even plan on doing it, but at the end I was like, oh, I'll do this and see. I do think the Cowboys statistically will probably be up there better than us, and that's really just because of Dak Prescott. I think he's if he has decent receivers, he's probably going to throw up close to 4,000 yards. Just the way they run that offense. So I had the Cowboys, and this is just offensive side of the ball. I think defensively we're gonna be quite a bit better than the Cowboys. But I had Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders, Giants, and I just realized now that Giants are dead last in every ranking for me. But
you're a big Giants fan.
Giants as much as the Cowboys. I hate the Cowboys more, but trying to be unbiased. Yeah, I think the Cowboys will be statistically pretty good this year. I think they have a really strong team, but I could honestly be flipped. Just the offensive line, I think is going to be a big factor, and I think ours is going to really help us push the ball down the field, and obviously hopefully run the ball successfully like we did last year. But yeah, so I'll just put you on the spot. I had Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders, Giants. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so and just to be clear, you're asking how are we going to rank as far as where are they going to fall in order of offensive performance rankings?
Yeah,
Cowboys are top 5 offense in the league. The Eagles are top 10.
Yeah, so what's the ranking? What do you think the Eagles will? And again, for me, it's literally just Dak Prescott. He's obviously very solid, and we know what they can do.
I actually was, writing them down as you were saying them, right? So I could write down your order and think about it. And I mean, I think that I agree. I think the Eagles have the potential to be the best. But I mean, the Commanders have a lot of potential.
Yeah.
I mean, remember when we all liked Carson Wentz a lot more than Dak Prescott? I was on that bandwagon for years.
Oh.
So now all of a sudden, we think we're gonna have the third offense out of these 4 teams. So I would say Cowboys first because of what they've done in the past. Chemistry, confidence, belief in themselves, quarterback play. Um, I think that they'll be good. They've got talented players. They got Schultz, Pollard, CeeDee Lamb, Michael. They do have talent, and
Yeah.
not just do they have talent. We have talent too, but they've put it together. Like they've played at a high level offensively already. I know the only team in our division that's done that. So I put
Right.
the Cowboys first. The Giants are last, obviously. So then that leaves the Eagles and the Commanders. I really have a problem with the old Redskins Commanders thing, man.
Yeah.
I
Me
can't.
too.
When I made the list, I wrote like Redskins down. And so like I kept reading it. I was like, oh. So I had to go here and cross it out and put Commanders. But I would rank the Eagles over the Commanders because Wentz is learning another offense. We don't know what they're going to be.
Yeah.
But they do have Terry McLaurin. They have Jahan Dotson. They have Curtis Samuel. They've got weapons. They've got weapons. So they say it's a game of inches. I think that's what it'll be an execution. Who's going to execute at the highest level? Who's going to prepare? Who's going to have those fine details coached? When the players are out on the field, who's going to be thinking clearly? Who's going to be coached clearly and have a clear idea of what we're trying to accomplish and be able to execute it? So, yeah, I'd say Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders, Giants, and also that order is dead set. So if you want to do this at home and if you want to be right, like if you want to look back and oh, I was right, like do that.
Just follow suit.
Yeah. So any last words, Ryan, for this episode? Not for life, just for this episode.
No. No, I mean, like I said, it's some of these are tough, but it's a lot of it is just going to depend on quarterback play. If our receivers be flipped, based off quarterback play, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, I think maybe a position here or there, but no, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to do defensive rankings. I think that's where we're really going to shine this year. So no.
Cool. Well, guys, thanks for watching. Again, this is another episode of the Bird Brothers, two brothers in Ohio who are lifelong Eagles fans. We're super excited for the upcoming season. And if you haven't, please check out some of our other content. Please like and subscribe. We appreciate all the support and hope you guys have a good day. Bye-bye.